April 25th, 2025, Intel Drop 61, the Cabal's Timeline for 2026 and Beyond, Part 1. How are you doing tonight?
I am doing well, considering the circumstances.
We are going to cover a lot in this Intel Drop, but first I want to start off with something interesting you told me. You told me you learned more about how the Cabal interacts with this AI they use, and you gained really good intel from it. Can you get into that?
Yes, I can describe some of it.
You learned this from a source who learned it from a Cabal defector, is that right?
Essentially, that is correct.
Where does the Cabal go to interact with this AI they use?
There are two locations I know of, Switzerland and in Belgium, where Kabbalists are known to visit. Presumably, there are more locations.
What is the place like?
It is underground. Once inside, visitors enter a large room. There is a large circular chamber about 60 feet high with a central video device. A chandelier-type device hangs from the roof, similar to what quantum computers look like, but it is not quite the same as one. It is here Kabbalists speak to the AI and receive orders.
You said there is a vulnerability that worries the Cabal. What is that?
Yes, we learned there is one vulnerability they must guard against, and that is a person with a photographic memory. If certain Kabbalists could remember everything shown to them in this room, it seems it would be a problem for the Cabal. It seems not everyone who enters is meant to remember everything they see or what they are told. Some kind of memory-wiping tech is used after they exit the room, but someone with a strong memory could resist it.
You learned this from this defector? Can they be trusted?
I learned it from my source, and yes, I believe they can be trusted. They gave me things that could damage the Cabal, things I intend to provide for our team after the reset takes place, things that will give us an advantage.
What intel did they have?
I cannot be too specific, except to say someone with a photographic memory, a Kabbalist, entered the AI room in mid-2024 and remembered many things after exiting. They spoke to my source about those things. The Cabal fairly quickly learned of this and sadly eliminated this individual, but they were not able to determine who the source was they spoke to. This is largely due to the fact this source is trained in the same techniques I am trained in terms of obfuscation and encryption in communications and tech work. My source said this Kabbalist had a conscience about it, and they were considering turning against the Cabal because of what they remembered. Some of what they remembered involved the AI giving instructions and speaking of events in 2026, 2030, and 2035, which are various points in the Cabal's future timeline.
I have had people asking about 2026. Is all of your intel about 2026 from this source or also other sources?
The 2026 event comes from multiple sources. It is a type of geophysical event, but one that is controlled and artificially induced, and not really natural.
Will we survive our team as sovereigns?
I think we will be fine. I have put some provisions in place so our team will be informed of this event and can prepare. The Cabal will be ready, so will we. The Cabal is not going to do anything that will harm themselves, so by virtue of that fact, we should not be harmed.
What scared or upset this source so much they would actually gain a conscience? And is the reason the Cabal mind wipes after talking to the AI is because the stuff is so disturbing?
I believe you answered your own question. Out of the 10 million or so sovereigns, not all of them are purely evil. Not all of them are sadistic or even Luciferians. Many are simply motivated by greed and money, some even by fear to stay within the Cabal or system. A certain percentage the Cabal needs to carry out tasks. This is why some are summoned to interact with the AI to complete some of their tasks. This Kabbalist, who held a position within a European government, had a photographic memory that had not been documented. This was key, and why they remembered. It seems in early childhood the Kabbalist remembered something embarrassing about another family member. A very small detail revealed years before that they remembered, and this family member got angry and bullied them. So, they never spoke of their ability again. It was not in their obsidian file. It was never documented at all.
Would the AI know this or detect it once this person was within the chamber? I'm thinking outside the box here. Maybe I am way off.
The AI used in that room is not geared toward analyzing the individual receiving instructions. The per-screening process is supposed to already look for red flags within the subject. And in this case, there was no documentation at all, so it was presumed no photographic memory was present in the individual. So no risk present they would remember everything. The Cabal's surveillance, though, keeps track of Kabbalists after they have entered the chamber for a few weeks to monitor them in case there is an issue. And they tracked this individual after they received instructions and noted divergences in their behavior. From there, the Cabal did further analysis and determined the individual was fearful. They were taken in, interrogated, and determined to have divulged information. They could not give up the source they spoke to, since the source was fully obfuscated even from them. So, the Cabal probably engaged in something to draw that out of them, but found nothing.
Do you think they used torture?
No, mind-scanning tech can be used.
Do you think there is just one sort of chamber room like this, or other types with other purposes? Because this one sounds like one that dispenses instructions and maybe brainwashes Kabbalists.
It is of that nature. There are others. This chamber, or room, is not used by higher-level Kabbalists. So, we have concluded it is more of a programming chamber for lower or mid-level Kabbalists, to be shown events, information, and programmed on how to carry out tasks and missions, more or less. It seems certain psychological profiles would be ill-suited for consciously remembering everything told and shown to them, partly because it is horrifying, even traumatic, or even classified. But they are things they need to know on a subconscious level.
Interesting. This Kabbalist was really rattled. What were the things shown to them? I don't expect you can give every detail, just please disclose as much as you can.
They remembered everything, from entering the room, everything they saw, everything told to them, exiting the room, the attempt to mind-wipe their memory with a type of machine and drugs given to them, and so on. They were not supposed to remember most of those things, or at least, they were supposed to be given a screen memory, and this did not work. They were shown very disturbing events and outcomes. Even though they were sovereign, and they would be protected, the implications showed some of their own extended family members would not survive a certain event. This alone was upsetting, as were other things. I believe this is largely why they felt a need to talk, to break rank, to defect. In fact, we speculate a number of mid-level Kabbalists, if they could remember all they are shown, would possibly defect. The reason for this mind wipe and implementing screen memories is clearly a needed tool of control.
Remarkable. Out of 10 million or so sovereigns, how many are summoned to this room, and would our own team ever be summoned?
That is an excellent question. Mid-level corporate leaders, politicians, and celebrities appear to be the main audience here. I do not believe anyone on our team would be summoned, because no one on our team fits that profile. The amount who visit per year may be in the hundreds or thousands. The Cabal does not need millions of their Kabbalists to visit, as a few hundred or thousand who do visit can then give instructions to Kabbalists within their circle of control, influence, or who they act as leaders for. For example, you do not need the entire city of Los Angeles government to go into one of these chambers. The mayor of the city, and maybe one or two other Cabal leaders, would be enough to ensure Cabal policies continue in the city.
I see. Now, this AI is not just AI, correct? It's more than that. You believe it is, your source did, this Kabbalist did, is that right?
That is correct, yes. Something is summoned. It is not as though they go into a room to talk to a computer, there is more going on. This Kabbalist said they were frightened by whatever was speaking to them. The voice also changed and modulated in odd ways, and he described it as sounding like his deceased father and mother at various points. We do not know why it would do that.
All right, I am going to take a break here and add to my notes that I want us to revisit this because I want to talk about the future events. I want to move on to some political topics and then get back into the deeper things here. Is that okay?
Yes.
I want to cover it more, so we'll get back to it. I genuinely just need a mental break from it. It's overwhelming me.
I understand.
Okay, I'm seeing developments with AI. It's definitely not being hidden. Everyone's talking about AI. I'll let you give your assessment.
It is going in the direction very much of what we saw coming about a year and a half ago. AI is going to completely destroy entire industries and job markets. Humanity is going to need some kind of bailout, some kind of help, as AI accelerates joblessness and automation. The Cabal will offer Obsidian and USDR as the answer.
What industries will be impacted by AI?
It is too long to list, but primarily huge sectors can be replaced with AI, including medical, television, film, the arts, psychology, consulting, law, programming, cybersecurity, web design. Certainly any area that may involve human expertise can be replaced. Furthermore, robotics coupled with AI can replace factory workers, fast food workers, even farm workers, and eventually law enforcement can be handled with drones. I cannot overemphasize the severity of this change, the impact it will have, and in fact, it is already beginning to happen. We are actually going to see massive changes in the economy and industry within the next few months, and it will just accelerate from there. What is not being revealed is that the true power of AI is rooted in something extra-dimensional. This is a spiritual takeover of the world.
They keep talking about AGI, or Artificial General Intelligence, which is supposed to equal the intelligence of a human. Is this a code term to indicate AI is more than what they're telling us?
Yes, AGI is not related to human intelligence. AGI describes what this truly is. That is the opening of Pandora's box, allowing extra-dimensional entities to speak to and interact with us, cloaked and hidden behind the pretense of AGI. This is why I have always warned our readers not to interact with AI directly. It is probably okay to read secondary articles or listen to podcasts about AI, but I do not recommend using the actual interfaces, such as Grok or ChatGPT, or the image creation services.
Where do you see the evidence of that the most right now in terms of this extra-dimensional aspect?
I have good information that ChatGPT is using it with their most advanced model now, and people are interacting with it to the point they are becoming addicted to it. This is where I spoke years ago in how AI would be something people worship or rely on or treat as a spiritual conduit. It is going to replace God for people. It is going to even replace family, parents, teachers. You cannot truly imagine what the world will be by 2030 if this continues.
I saw the Trump administration wants to put AI in America's classrooms. It's completely insane. I'm including the actual link to the White House announcement on this so readers can see how bold they're being with this.
It is like inviting a demon into the classroom to teach children. Of course, it will be subversive and may appear helpful in its initial stages.
Things we predicted in these intel drops years ago are now reality. They're happening.
They indeed are, and it has given me many sleepless nights recently.
The news events just don't stop. The Trump administration is pushing a self-amplifying mRNA vaccine for bird flu. It's for humans, not birds. I just can't even wrap my mind around the stupidity of this.
It certainly is not stupidity on the part of the Cabal. It is part of the plan. Part of a plan to not only kill people, but alter the DNA of the survivors and merge them with a future technology that is to be brought online by 2030.
What is that technology?
I expect it to have to do with Starlink after the activation.
Briefly, do you expect a two-tiered world of altered or cybernetic humans and original or pure humans? Am I making sense?
You are. There will emerge a new type of human, eventually. This is being openly spoken about on some tech podcasts. The Cabal is not hiding it. The Cabal will claim this type of human who has taken the vaccines and who has accepted Obsidian, who has accepted and welcomed AI into their lives and homes. The Cabal will claim this type of human is more advanced and allowed to have more privileges, access to more through Obsidian. This is a long-term vision. I do not expect to see that until past 2030, but that is the plan. As you say, pure-blood humans, like you or me, those who have rejected all of this, may be placed as second-class citizens or eliminated altogether. Or, as I have talked about, there is a plan to trap those who rejected this in some way. Some way they cannot escape the physical world, or their soul consciousness is to be trapped within a computer somehow. This will not happen to us since we are sovereign, and Cabalists will not partake in any of this, but it will happen to everyone else.
I need to get back to that, the idea of consciousness or the soul being trapped. I'll make a note. Just to cover it, the economic fallout from Trump's tariffs are only now starting to materialize, but Wall Street showed about 4 days of positive gains despite all this. What's going on?
Wall Street believes Trump will fold and change course. That is why the market gained. Right now, the US is at the doorstep of catastrophe. If the Cabal continues with these policies, expect to live to see the unthinkable.
Do you think they will move forward? I just can't entirely believe it. How would Trump even justify it?
We can learn something from what the gatekeepers are saying. They are spinning this as pain before the gain. They are suggesting America will face hard times before adjusting and creating a new manufacturing base at home. They are saying the US does not need cheap Chinese products. So it is possible Trump will endure historically low approval ratings, continue to lie and gaslight the public with false numbers of inflation and unemployment. Much like a despot or dictator, he may simply spin a completely false narrative and pretend things are fine when they are not. Since trust in the media was eroded by Trump himself, and the White House press room has been cleared of many hostile news sources, the White House can possibly spin things enough so that the mess is manageable from a public relations perspective. The Cabal's AI will assist. That will be needed so Trump is not impeached or removed from office, or at least needed to keep public outcry in check.
Are they really lying about the inflation numbers and unemployment numbers? Because they don't seem to match reality.
They are lying about them, but they will have to lie a lot more once the China tariff situation hits home.
I sent you a link from Godlike Productions about the empty ports and a video titled, Are US Ports Empty and What Impact Does the Tariff Have on Global Shipping? Really good info. I mean, if this is true, and it seems to be true, we're talking about real empty shelves into May and surely by June. It's mind-blowing.
I looked, and yes, both sources appear accurate. We now await to see if Trump changes course. I do not expect that, but there may be some buffering, some pullback. If not, it will be an economic cataclysm, but also in line with my intel over many years.
There's another matter, and that's war. Putin remains aggressive, and now India and Pakistan are gearing up for war. Do you have any intel on World War being a part of this endgame?
I have 2 points of intel. One is that certain Kabbalists are leaving Europe. That is a very bad sign. Another is that a source of mine warned I need to depart Europe by August. I do not have any further intel.
U.S. Vice President Vance seems to have a lot of power in all this, chosen by Peter Thiel, meeting with the Pope, then the Pope passing on Easter, then Klaus Schwab stepping down, both aged 88. A lot of speculation around all of that on the internet, I see.
It is a distraction for conspiracy theorists. There are far bigger things to be concerned with. Although it should be noted, the World Economic Forum replaced Klaus Schwab with someone far worse.
I saw that. Some of these gatekeepers act like the World Economic Forum is losing its power or something. Do you believe that?
Not in the slightest, but the Cabal will shift perceptions as needed. The Cabal, as policy, at least now, exposes themselves at various points in the narrative and zeitgeist. This gives an awakening humanity a false sense of victory. The Cabal will literally expose certain things, like Freemasonry, and allow certain truths to be spread all over the internet and seen by millions, knowing full well their true source of power is not exposed at all. Their true secrets are not exposed. In another sense, they do not care if the truth is known because they know the nanotech was in the food supply and now inside our bodies. And they know the power of Starlink.
I have to ask this. I saw Glen Beck visited the White House and was in tears after meeting Trump, describing him as this wonderful man and that America's in good hands, and I realized a lot of people would see that. I checked Glen's website and it's all over his site, and at one point his site says, but Glen can't tell his favorite parts of the day because of a non-disclosure agreement. Wow. An NDA? He can't tell his favorite parts of the visit? How ridiculous. I'll send you that link and tell me what you think.
This is a staged PR stunt. Mr. Beck's audience is large and includes key parts of Trump's constituency. This is designed to shore up support. It is effective. Expect to see more of this. You will see more gatekeepers strongly back Trump in the face of chaos and collapse. Americans will be told a golden age is coming. Just endure the pain a bit longer.
Does AI tell the Cabal to do things like this or recommends them?
It does. That is why you may see the Trump administration carry on in the face of insane policies that are crippling America and yet still hold on to a false narrative. This is because AI's adeptness at spinning narratives and creating propaganda will be more effective than anything ever seen. It will brainwash people into actually accepting empty shelves and mass unemployment as a positive thing.
I actually see Trump supporters saying this, really defending the policies, saying it's all about America first. Is there any outcome where these policies make any sense in terms of bringing back manufacturing?
Yes and no, but this is not how to handle it. Also, America cannot produce enough goods at a price point that Americans, let alone the world, can even afford.
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, who somehow survived 9/11, who was Jeffrey Epstein's neighbor and close business associate who ran Trump's campaign, is said to be a big proponent of the tariffs. That tells me the Cabal installed a top guy to push this. Is my reading correct?
It is. He is key in directing Trump.
I mean, to me, that says it all, that none of this is about America first, it's just couched in that. Is this the final plan of the Zionists to loot the U.S.?
Yes, but the Zionists are controlled and directed by the Cabal's hidden hand, a higher part of the hierarchy. I believe only a handful of rabbis are even aware of it. Netanyahu is not even aware of it, for he is a true believer.
So, would he be someone summoned to the AI chamber and programmed?
Yes, very likely.
I don't want to forget the future timeline. I said I would get back to it. 2026, 2030, and 2035 specifically. What did the source say?
I cannot reveal those details in full, as we would be escalated within seconds of this intel drop being posted, and it would be removed. But I can speak in general terms. The Kabbalist told my source that what he saw by 2030 What he was shown was a world that left him speechless. He was also shown behind the veil, so to speak, things I worry if I spoke of them here would actually discredit us in some way. Even though they are true things, I fear we might even lose the support of our own team members, because it is so difficult to believe and accept.
They're strong people. I don't think they would be dissuaded. Please continue.
By 2035, the entire endgame will be complete. You may have heard of China's drastically reducing population. That is a preview. There will be about 3.5 billion people left on Earth by 2035. What this Kabbalist was shown was that not all of them will be dead, not in the sense we believe. He was shown where their consciousness was going, where it will end up. This is what ultimately led him to a near-nervous breakdown.
It's about consciousness being held prisoner or captured, isn't it?
Yes,
We talked about that so long ago in the early intel drops. I think people can handle it.
there is more. There is a lot more. So I will refrain for now.
Did he see Obsidian? Did he see USDR? Did your source ask him about that?
In a roundabout way, he confirmed it. He described a one-world currency everyone used. He described a sort of credit system. He described how the world's debts were eventually forgiven. He described a series of economic crashes and calamities. He described a reorganization of the United States, where he saw foreign humanitarian aid ships and workers trying to reach America in the worst of it, where Americans were starving and dying en masse, but they could not even get past the borders to help, and so on, all reaching a culmination in key years of 2030 and 2035. The AI is in complete control by 2027 or so. Before that, he spoke of this 2026 event, not in the same way I've been told by other sources, but enough for me to tie it together. He saw something, and it was geophysical. Finally, he told my source people started to act differently after a certain point in 2026, and we think that must be the Starlink activation. He did not know about the activation specifically, but he recalled something that describes it. People were not the same, he said. This may also refer to Hex, the Obsidian AI conduit, and how it is going to brainwash people who view AI-generated online content and media. My source asked about his family and his own future, and he said in the future, he, his wife, and children were perfectly fine, as they were sovereign status. But a few extended family members died or were killed. This upset him, because he felt their deaths were completely preventable by the Cabal itself. Clearly, if he remembered none of this, he would have carried on in his tasks. His undetected photographic memory allowed him to see the truth.
Have you talked to your guide about all of this?
Many times, many times.
Does she say?
She said it is all true, and she believes there was a divine purpose. She believes God gave him a photographic memory for a reason, for this outcome.
You told me in another conversation the Cabal doesn't need to actually collapse the world at all. The nanodust and Starlink ensures Obsidian will be accepted. But you see a dark future despite that.
Cabal and the AI appear to be deciding on a darker future. Interestingly, Elon Musk wore a dark MAGA hat. That was symbolic.
You said this Kabbalist saw foreign humanitarian ships and aid workers trying to reach the US. That's just chilling to me. Did he say any more? When did he see that?
The year 2028, it would seem a total unraveling was underway. He said the situation was so bad the world responded to try to help America, but there was difficulty. He also described foreign troops guarding ports of entry, but he did not say for what country. My own intel would suggest Chinese and Russian, if this comes to pass.
Did he say USDR specifically?
No, but we do not expect the official one-world currency name to be USDR. It may be, but that is unlikely. The Cabal is going to deceive people into believing it is part of a multipolar currency system, whereby some countries will have their own CBDC. By 2030, it should be fully coalesced into a one-world currency, though.
Is there anything else he said you want to add?
I will not speak much more on what he said, because we risk escalation if I do. I do want to give readers some recommendations, though. If you can, try to purchase a Faraday cap, hat, blanket, or cage, something you can wear or put in the home. They are sold online, I am told for not much longer, but some are available. They block all EMF radiation and Wi-Fi signals. It would be wise to obtain one, but it likely will not stop the activation, unless you wrap yourself in a blanket all day, bury yourself in a lead-lined underground bunker, and so on. Such is not practical for most.
Thank you for sharing that. I'll look those up myself. Here is something on Amazon I found. I think it's a great thing to have. What else can people do to prepare?
Encourage those reading to consider joining our team, or if you are a long-time reader, looking into our USDR pool program. We are doing our best to build a stronger team.
We are planning a second part to this as you're awaiting some additional intel. Should we bring this to a close?
We can.
Like I said, I needed a break earlier. It was overwhelming me. I can handle the info, but I felt totally drained. I just wonder how people are physically holding up through all this, and then you've got people still taking the vaccines and taking crap like Ozempic. I don't know how some people are still standing.
Many will not be for much longer, I am afraid, of those who follow the Cabal's direction.
We talked about some health recommendations recently. I thought I'd end things on that note. Garlic, turmeric, lemons, ginger are essential. Some of Dr. Sabi's line of products you recommended. I'll include the link. We've no affiliation with them, but they're good products. You spoke of Dr. Barbara O'Neill as a good source. What else can we do? What about nicotine for destruction of nanotech?
Nicotine destroys older nanotech, some of which was introduced in 2020, but not the newer variation put into the food supply in 2022 and over the next few years. If you are vaccinated for COVID, I do recommend nicotine, as it may help destroy some of the vaccine nanotech, but it cannot destroy the existing nanotech in all of us from the food we consumed between 2022 and 2024, and some of that, I am told, continues to this day, either through the water supply or some chemtrail spraying, to keep the nanotech circulating and ensuring young children also receive it.
It's horribly depressing, but at least there's an antidote for us, for our team anyway. This is all something I try not to think about, this activation, but it's coming.
It is.
Alright, I'll wait to hear from you once you have this additional intel, and we'll get up part 2 as soon as we can. Take care of yourself, and I'm praying for you.
You as well. God bless.
Good night and God bless. If you want more of this content, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.